Welcome back to Oh Yes You Can. Hope you all are keeping healthy and doing well in this cold weather. Today we're going to do something that I think you have been perhaps looking forward to for a while. We are going to begin with a landscape of a nature picture, if you will. And so to do this, you're going to need the drawing paper, and you're going to need the drawing paper in the landscape position, not the portrait, the landscape position like that. And you're going to need a pencil and I think we'll probably need a straight edge later on. And we're going to be using color. Yay, 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 finally we're using color. Your choice. Crayons, colored pencils. We haven't talked very much about soft pastels, but that's the artist's word for colored chalks. So any of those things will work. The techniques we're going to be practicing today will apply to pretty much anything you're going to be doing, whether you go to acrylics or oils or whatever you will be using. What we're talking about today, the principles will remain the same. So, just because I think I want to use crayons, that's going to be my choice today. With our drawing paper in the landscape position, let's use our pencil. And the first thing we're going to do is put a horizon line on our paper. And I think I'm going to make the sky be the biggest part of my picture. So I'm going to put my horizon line down here a little bit further below the halfway mark. And the horizon line is simply where the sky and the earth appear to meet, and it can be flat like a field. It can be kind of bumpy for whatever reason, or it can be mountain peaks. That's your choice again. So if you want your sky to be the major color feature of your picture, move your horizon line down below the halfway point. If you want the lower portion, the earth portion of your picture to be the feature, then move your horizon line up above the halfway point so that you've got more room to put in detail down here. That's entirely up to you. I think I'm going to go back and have mine above the halfway point so that I'll have more room down here in the earth portion of my picture. Let's see, what shall I have? I think I'm just going to have like an Indiana pasture land, maybe just some rolling hills like that. Not just flat, because I want it to be interesting. So I've got a horizon line like that, and I tried to make it darker so that you can see what I'm doing. You don't need to make it nearly that dark because it will be incorporated into your picture ultimately. The first thing we're going to do is the sky portion. Skies can come in many, many colors. I happen to think today I want mine to be a bright, sunny, clear day with, get these out here so I can see them, with perhaps no clouds in the sky. Clouds are something we can learn on a whole different lesson. Okay, so I want a blue sky. I've got a couple of choices here. That's what a scratch paper is good for. I can see what color blue I'm pulling out of my box. This is the one I want. The thing I want you to remember as you're learning more about art is that your most important tool of all, probably in your whole arsenal of tools, will be your eyes. Learning to use your eyes is the most valuable thing you can teach yourself. And you say, oh, well, I use my eyes. Well, maybe you do and maybe you don't. What color is the sky? What color is the sky today? What color is the sky at night when there are no clouds? Is it all the same color? Or are there some different variations of the color in the sky? Today, I told you I wanted to have a bright sunny day. We've had enough gloomy days for a while. So I'm going to put a paper under my work so that I'm not coloring on this surface here, because I didn't put down a newspaper before I started. Okay, the sky is not going, unless we're doing a stormy sky, and today we're not going to have any strokes that go whopper-jawed, funny directions. We're going to have all our sky basically the same direction, long strokes, left to right, all the way across the paper as much as we can. And the other thing is, we sort of live in a bowl. Think of our world as a cereal bowl with the cereal bowl upside down on our head. So up here's essentially the bottom of the cereal bowl, and down here would be the opening. So I've got this cereal bowl on top of my head, and what I want to remember is over here at the edge of the cereal bowl, it's a lighter color. Believe it or not, it's true. It's a lighter color across, across, across. As I get further up on the walls of the cereal bowl or the sky, it's getting darker and darker. Remember our grayscale? Here it comes back again. Darkest right over our heads like that, lighter as we're coming down like this. So do that with your whole sky, light at the horizon, darker up here, kind of a circle like the bottom of the cereal bowl as you come across like that. Okay, finish that up. Okay, did you get your sky done? Mine still looks a little bit like I need to do some blending. And crayons are harder to do than colored pencils and soft pastels. But I can use my finger or a tissue and do a certain amount of blending to make my sky look more smoothed out. More like that. And I think I'll go back and right in here, it looks like I went too quickly from the dark to the really light. So I'm going to make a medium, middle of the road color here, if you will, but keeping it light down here along the horizon. All right, now let's look at the horizon line itself, and let's put some foliage in there. Let's go with, because it's very far away, very distant, the colors are not distinct. You can't see the leaves on the trees. It just looks like kind of a blob of color, if you will. And I think I'm going to find, maybe start with, where's my scratch paper? Start with a lavender and see if that works for me. And, well, would you stay over there, crayons? This time I am going to do an up and down stroke because I'm thinking about where the trees are growing. And we want this to be a little darker than the sky above it. But this is really just a kind of a scribbly up and down irregular line because the trees are not all the same height. But remember, we can't see any of the leaves or anything like that over there. I think I'll stop there just because I think I'll put something different over there. Yeah, that looks kind of good. When things are far, far away, as I said, we can't see the details of them, and the colors begin to look a little bit blurred. Notice I'm bringing some of my purple color down into the hillside, like maybe shadows are being cast from behind the trees. Yeah. And if we want to change that a little bit so that it's a different purple, we can just add in some blue. Don't get it too dark, because these are far, far away, over the hill, if you will. Way out there in the distance. And I made this like I have a valley going further away, and so these are getting even lighter through here. These are a little bit closer, and they're a little bit darker. Now, what else shall we put in here? I think I need to have maybe a little bit of pasture land. I think I'll try just a green for starters, and I can add other colors if I want. I think I'm just going to put in some quick strokes of green grass up here just to get me started. Kind of like that. And I'm leaving this empty because I want to put a building of some kind in here. So I'm going to just come over here just to get my colors started. That's a nice green. It's called, what's it called? Oh, it's called a yellow green. It's a nice color. Okay, and I bring it down just a little bit, and no, I'm gonna leave that. I don't know what I'll put over there yet. I think I'll put a barn up here about where my finger is. Your building can go anywhere you want. The thing I want you to do now is to remember that unless the barn is falling down, its uprights, its walls, if you will, are parallel to the sides of your paper. So we don't want anything going any of those kinds of ways. Unless, as I say, you're drawing an old rickety barn that's falling down. So let's put a couple of sides in for our barn. I used my pencil, didn't have to. Now, the bottom of the barn, I'm going to hide. I'm going to hide it behind part of the green grass. So it can be a little crookedy like that, just to get me started. Now, I think that I need to, you wouldn't think that this table is crooked, but it might be. Okay, I need another wall on my barn. So again, I'm going to go back and make sure that I'm parallel. I think I said the wrong word a while ago. This is parallel to over here. And I'm going to make another little line with my pencil. Now, this barn is, let's see, how are we going to do this? This barn is going to have its wall slanting like that, and then straight across over here. Now, I need a roof on my barn, so I'm going to put, I'm doing this all with pencil. You could do it with crayon or marker or anything else. Remember when we did the railroad and it seemed to get smaller as it went further away? Our barn roof is going to look smaller as it's further back over there. But this angle and this angle are the same. Okay? Now let's get some color on that so we can see what we're doing. We need a red barn. Huh. Of course we need a red barn. I'm probably making this too dark because once again, it's way over there in the distance. It shouldn't be a bright red barn like it's right behind your house. And I want the sunlight coming in from over there, so that means that probably this side would, I don't want to use the same color. I want kind of maybe a brown. Something that I can shade this to show that it's on the side of the barn away from the sunlight, which means that probably, where's my red, that this side here is going to catch a little bit more light than this one, and so it will be brighter, lighter. There we go. And I think this eave up here would probably be the same kind of color, like so. Now, how do we get into our barn? Well, let's see. I don't know. You might even need a marker for this, but you need something with a nice sharp point. Maybe this will work. I need to have a big door here. Again, not real dark because it's on the light side of the barn. Over here we need another door. Now I'm getting darker because this is on the shadowed side of the barn. And I'm going to put a couple of windows in here. And I didn't do anything with the roof. Again, where it's getting the most sunlight, it's going to be lighter. Over here, where it's more shadowed, it's darker. And under this eave right here, where no sunlight can hit it, it's got a real dark spot. Okay. Now I need to go back and do something with this pasture grass, because it looks like nothing much is happening out here. So I'm just putting in color, and this time I'm going back and forth. It could go this way, I guess, but because it's so far away, you really can't tell that the plants are growing toward the sun. And I think because it needs something happening that's interesting, I need to find, I don't seem to have another green. Yes, I do. Here's another green. I'm just going to darken some of this and give it a bit of a valley. And let's see, why don't we, just for fun, put some little teeny tiny evergreen trees up here. Not too many, not too big. Maybe he's got a Christmas tree farm started back here on this area behind the barn. And those look kind of blah, so let's put some shading on them. And again, I'm going to go to a dark color. And on the side of the tree away from the sunlight, it'll be a little bit darker. And then there may be some shadow coming off these trees because the sun's coming from over here. And all our shadows are going to go the same direction because the sun doesn't move and the trees don't move. So the shadows are going to all come out here. Nothing's over here because there's no sun coming from this direction. Okay? Oh, I wanted to put a silo in that too. I think I'll go back and put a silo right behind my barn. Once again, these are going to be vertical lines parallel to the side of our picture because our silo better not be tipping over. Okay, so I'm going to put a little silo right there. And the side of the top roof, if you will, that's on this side closest to the light is lighter than this side that's over here on this side. And of course, this is going to be darker here going toward the sunlight. Not quite dark enough to make it look realistic. Okay. Now, I think that next I will put, I'm going to go find a brown if I can, because I want to have an old dirt road coming from behind this barn over here. And it's going to come down the hill and wander over here like it's going out to the mailbox maybe. And remember, when things are far away like railroad tracks, they're very, very skinny. They look like their sides are coming together. And as they get closer to us, they get wider. I don't want to make it too wide because it certainly is not the interstate that we're drawing. But down here we've got the road coming in for the mailman to come on. So maybe down here we need to put our mailbox in. Now be careful because the sun is kind of here, not way over here. So our dark side on the mailbox is going to be over here, and our light side is going to be on this side, closest to the sun. And we're going to follow those same principles of making it look like it's coming toward us, like so. And I used all one color on that. You can use lots of different colors. My neighbors, lots of them have red birds on their mailbox and all kinds of fun stuff. So you can decorate that the way you want it to be. And going back to that road, up here it just looks like brown dirt. As we get down here closer, you can maybe begin to see that there are some kind of ruts in the road. Maybe there's some piles of dust where there are little bumps in the road. Those lines go parallel to the top and bottom of your paper. These little bumps that go across. The ruts are going to follow the road itself. But these dust puddles are going to go back and forth like that. Now, what else can we put in there? Well, we better have something else growing out here. I don't want my Christmas tree farm to come clear over here, so I think I'm just going to put in an alfalfa field, a hay field for part of it, because that's a quick thing for you to put in. And again, up here it's further away, so the colors are lighter. As the hayfield gets closer to you, the colors get darker and more distinct. And if I go a little crooked, I'm not sure that that's a bad idea, because there may be some hills and some, oops, not dark up there, Linda. Some hills and some bumps out here in this field. Darker. And usually there are some weeds or something, some briars growing up around the mailbox. Mine has like that anyhow. Lighter, lighter, lighter up here. Darker as you come down this direction. And again, if you want to go back and with your finger or your tissue, blend it together, I think that begins to look a whole lot better. And notice that my trees are blending down into the edge of the hayfield now. Looks a little bit more realistic. That kind of thing. And let's see, just because I want to, I'm going to put, I think I'll put a tree. Why would a tree be in the middle of the field? Well, because I want it to, I guess. All right, I'm going to put a tree here, and it's going to be bigger than this, smaller than that, because it's in the middle, obviously. So we're going to put a little trunk here. Darker on the side away from the sun, lighter on the other side. And rather than put a bunch of branches in now, I think I'm just going to give it some greenery. There it is. Please don't make your tree look like a basketball. Trees don't grow that way. They have branches out here, and they have branches up here, and they have irregular stuff over here. And notice I'm going in different directions because everything grows from the center of the tree, from the trunk itself. So everything grows pointing back to, or pointing back from, rather, where it started, which is the middle of the tree, the trunk of the tree. Okay. Now, that still looks like it's kind of weird because we need some branches here and just kind of hook these together occasionally. Like so. Not too bad. If you want to make some variations in what, I know what let's do. let's turn this into kind of a fall picture suddenly. Let's put some color in our tree. I don't know why this maple tree is growing out in the middle of the hay field. The farmer's not going to like that very much, but add some of the fall colors in here and there on your tree, just for fun. And now I think I need a little bit more green to tie it together. I got too much color in mine. Okay. And I didn't put a shadow. Our sun is still shining, so I'm going to put a shadow, and I'm going to use that same green I started with here. And let's see, we didn't put a shadow down here either, but that's pretty small. Yeah, I want the light coming from here, so the tree is going to have its shade out this direction. Doesn't have to be exact, just kind of the general shape of what's making the shadow. And while I've got a brown in my hand, I'll just put a little shadow from the mailbox too. There it is. And this road out here is just going to be pretty much, I think we'll just call it blacktop, because I don't want a dirt road going by my house with all that dust coming up. So we're going to turn it into a paved road like this. And that leaves us with this whole area here to make some decisions about. Well, let's see. We could put a house down here. We could put some fence down here and maybe some cattle in a pasture. Whatever we're going to put down here, we need to start with the surface color first. So if it's going to be a yard or a pasture, let's go ahead and put our green in. Lighter up here, darker, darker, darker as we get down here. And I'm still using that yellow green, and I think I'll have to go to the other green to get the contrast I want. Here it is. And probably we'd better start thinking about the fact that we can see things growing down here as we're getting closer to us. Not very big, not knee-high grass or anything like that, but we need to have some amount of grass, which means that there's going to be a small amount of shadow coming out from that grass. Maybe a little bit right there. Now down here, where this is closest to us, we've got some taller stuff growing, and it's going to go toward the sky, of course, as things growing do. Not too big, not too much, just here and there, but definitely making it darker than that middle ground over there. Now that's too much empty space, so I'm going to darken this a little bit. Keep that light up there, darken this a little bit down here. And I think down here in this level ground, I think I'll just put, I started to say a corral. I guess it could be called a corral. A fenced-in area. There's a fence post and a fence post. And again, this is a well-maintained farm, so they're going to be parallel to the sides of the picture. So there's a fence post, and there's a fence post, and I made those going away a little bit because they're getting smaller. That's okay. Is that parallel? It's easy to start going crookedy, so be sure that you're keeping them parallel, or you're going to have a sloppy looking fence. I think I'll just, maybe this is just a little holding area for some lambs. That could be. These wires or fencing that's going away, this one over here and this one here, they're getting smaller just like the road did as it gets further away. These that are facing us are supposed to be parallel. I didn't do a very good job. It's supposed to be parallel. And now just for fun, what are those sheep with the black faces? Are those the merinos? Put a sheep in here. Yeah, and another one over here. I'm giving them some ears. And I'm not putting any detail in these because they are further away. And also my crayons don't have a sharp enough point. So for some of this, if you want to finish with Sharpie markers or something that gives you a nice, or a sharpened colored pencil, so that you can get the detail you want. But again, these are not real close to you, so that it doesn't take a whole lot of detail. Just kind of the hint that they're back there in the distance. Okay? Work on that until you're happy with the fact that it is detailed and darker close to you, fades away, smaller images, lighter colors as it gets further away. And then as your cereal bowl sky covers back over you, it starts to darken again right over your head. So, you've now done your first landscape. Don't forget to sign your work. And are you keeping that portfolio I suggested to you a time or two ago? Be sure to keep these things because you're going to be amazed at the progress you make as we go forward. We're going to change gears again next time. So, before you come back for our next, oh yes you can, I want you to get your hands on some kind of a simple cartoon. Simplest possible. I went online to coloring pages and found this one. You don't want a lot of detail because the more detail you have, the more you have to draw later on. I also found this one because it's cute. It's a lot more involved, obviously, than this one, so that might be almost more than you would want to do. However, this one and this one will be available up on the second floor of the library for next time. You'll also need the drawing paper rather. You'll need the pencil again. Whatever you'd like to use for coloring, whether it be colored pencils or pastels or crayons. I would like not to use markers yet because we can't do the shading that I'd like for us to do with markers. So something like this that you can have color variations. And you'll also need tape or glue and a pair of scissors. Have fun. Until next time, I say, oh yes you can. Bye.